All right, so this is a quick demo of how to set up the wireless. You're gonna do your normal starting, right, making sure the LEDs are the batteries plugged in, making sure you wanna use the rotary encoder, turning off the LEDs for standby mode. All right, and then this is where it starts to get different. So you're gonna get a question of, right, do you want to use wireless? So for those who haven't upgraded, right, they can just say no and it will just act like its normal self. But if you do wanna use wireless, you can say yes. So we're gonna say yes in this case. So we're setting up both of these, and I have not gotten around to making it so that one could set up all the others. Right now, the wireless code is pretty basic. So you have to select the name. You do have to do a specific naming convention. So the controlling timer is going to be called the master. So you have to rotate the screen till it says master, and you make that the controlling timer or controlling unit. And then the next unit, it depends on how many timers you use, right? You can use up to 5, but the first timer needs to be named Alpha. The second timer needs to be named Bravo, Charlie, and then Delta, right? So it goes up, right? Because when this cycles through, like trying to start them or trying to find the timers, it's going to look, if you tell the controller that it's only got to look for 2 other timers, it's only going to look for Alpha and Bravo. So you do have to make sure that you name them based off of the alphabetical order. So right, if you try to name it Alpha and Charlie, that's going to screw up the code. So you need to name it Alpha and then Bravo and then Charlie. So it just depends on how many timers you have. So if you have 1 extra timer, that's Alpha. If you have 2 extra timers, it's Alpha and Bravo, and so forth. Right? If you had 4 extra timers, it'd be Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So just follow the alphabet, and that's how you name your timers. One of the timers you need to name master. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one on the right. I'm going to make that the master. And then the one on the left, I'm going to name it Alpha. All right, so you'll notice with the Alpha, it just went straight into selecting the game mode, but because this one's the master has some more questions. So it wants to know, right, are you going to use this unit as a timer as well? So in this case, I'm going to say yes, we're going to use this unit as a timer. Okay, so then it wants to know how many other timers you're going to have. So I can change that value. So right now it's set up to, you can have up to 5 timers. You got to name each timer uniquely, so that's why you can only do 5 at this time. So in addition to this being a timer, it says number of other timers. There's only 1 other timer that I'm using right now, so I just say yes for 1. And then it wants to know how you want to display the times at the end, because it's going to add all the times together. So you can do a rotate where it just will show you each of the timers individual times, or you can do and then it will, once it shows you each of the timers individual times, then it will let you do a total. It will show you like the total time. So that's a rotate. So it's going to rotate through each of the timers, or you can just change it to total, in which case it's only going to show you the summation of all the timers. So you can decide what you want to do. I'm going to put on rotate. All right, and now it's ready to select game mode too. So mainly, so some of the games aren't really set up. So you're going to basically be using this with BTA, King of the Hill. You can use it with Hold the Hill, Domination, normal King of the Hill. So probably one of those ones. It's not really set up for all the other ones. So I'm going to just do Domination. So I got to make sure I set both of them to the same thing. So Domination, right? And this is just normal setup. So I'm going to say instant press. For the demonstrations, I'm going to just set the game to 30 seconds. So sure, I'll use the audio count. I don't have an audio hooked up, so I can do whatever I want right here. Right, so I'm setting up the exact same way. Game length. All right, so then it puts it in standby mode. Right, so I could manually go start this timer by hitting the red button, or I can activate alpha using this button. So what the master is going to do is the master is going to send out a communication to each timer, and as soon as it gets communication back, it will move on to the next timer. So first thing it's going to do is going to tell alpha. If I had Bravo, then it would tell Bravo, and it's going to cycle through all of them, and then it will activate itself. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the red button. Right, and you can see that it activated alpha, then it activated itself. Right, and it starts counting down, and because I'm using this as a normal timer, it just starts acting like a normal timer. So now I can control it. So I got blue, blue, red, red. So I'm gonna go ahead and do blue, blue. All right, so both blues times are at 10 seconds, and then I'm just gonna let the reds finish out. So we got 10, 10, and we got 10, 8. All right, so they're both finished. Now this is gonna start calculating it. So it takes it a second to get everything finished, so you want to give it a minute to make sure that it's calculating everything correctly. But yeah, so now this is rotating through it. It looks like it's gotten all the calculations in. So it says alpha has 1010, which matches over here. It says master has 10.8, which was what this was before. And then it says the total is 2018, right? Which it just added the two values. So that is how this now works. Right? And if I want to reset it, it's the same normal reset. I just hold it for roughly about 5 seconds. Maybe a little bit more. All right, so alpha wants to know if I want to switch to game mode. I'm gonna say no, I'm gonna leave that as is. Oh, so that's something to recognize, that it restarted itself, and that's because I haven't switched this I haven't put this back into like the standby mode, and so it's still transmitting to start it. So that is one issue there. So you always want to make sure that you reset the master before you reset the other ones. So I'm actually going to change this. So I'm going to say switch game mode, right? And that sends me back to the beginning. I'm going to use this as wireless again. I'm going to make this the master again. This time, I'm not going to use this as a timer. So I'm going to say, no, this one is not a timer. Let's go ahead and reset that. Right, and since I reset this, it's not starting that one, but that one's in standby mode. So this time, how many timers are there, right? So again, I'm not using this one as a timer, so it's how many are there. So there's one other, so I'm gonna hit yes for one. All right, I can do rotate or total. Since I'm using this one as the master, I just want to do total. I could do rotate, but I'm just gonna do total. So I'm gonna hit yes for total. All right, so it says master loop, right? It's now in standby mode. Again, it's ready to start. So as soon as I hit this, right, it activates alpha and it starts itself. All right, so now it's just trying to collect the total time. So there'll be a little bit of a delay, but it's just gonna have it's gonna add up the times that it's getting over here. So hitting these buttons doesn't do anything. Right, and it will just keep updating. So there's a little bit of a delay, but it's not too bad. Right, so this says 10, 10, this recognizes that it's at 10:10. So again, it just added the total time. If I had like a Bravo, it would have added that time as well. So again, this time we'll remember to reset it. So we're gonna reset this first. So hold down the 2 buttons. Do I want to switch game modes? No, we'll just leave that one as is. All right, now I can reset this one. I can hit no. Puts it in standby, and you're ready to go again. So there you go. That is how to use the menu for wireless, at least for this first version of wireless.